All right, let's talk about something that I'm sure feels familiar to a lot of you. We're going to try and make sense of one of the most common and, frankly, most frustrating experiences in the world of innovation. You pour your heart and soul into a great idea, only to watch it just fall completely flat. You know the feeling, right? On one side, you walk into a room, you're practically buzzing with excitement about this breakthrough you've had. And then someone just says, "Oh, that's kind of like product X. Yeah, that's been done." And boom, the air just goes out of the room. On the other side, a competitor launches something amazing, and you get this pit in your stomach because you know you had all the pieces to build that. You could have gotten there first. Now, these feel like totally different problems, but they're actually two sides of the very same coin. So what's really going on here? Is it just bad luck? Are people not paying attention? Or maybe is there some kind of invisible dynamic, a hidden force that determines who sees the next big thing and who just misses it entirely? That's the mystery we're about to unravel. Well, the key to this whole puzzle is a concept that Bill Buxton, a principal researcher over at Microsoft, calls the GGR law. You can think of it as a fundamental rule of the game for innovation, one that explains both of those super frustrating scenarios we just talked about. Okay, so here's what the law says. The more familiar you get with a subject, the finer your perception becomes. I want you to think about it like a high-resolution camera. The more you zoom in on something, the more you can see and appreciate all the tiny, subtle differences, the little details that really matter, the ones that separate a meh idea from a truly great one. Now, this might look like scary math, but it actually captures a really simple, powerful idea. That J&D stands for just noticeable difference. It's the smallest possible detail you can perceive. So the formula is just showing us that as your familiarity goes up, the size of the difference you can spot as being truly significant goes down. You literally start seeing the important details that no one else can. And this really gets to the heart of it. When you have high familiarity with a problem, you've lived it, you've breathed it, your vision has what we call fine granularity. You see all the subtle, critical details. But someone with low familiarity, they've got coarse granularity. They can only see the big, obvious shapes. And all those crucial little nuances, they're completely invisible. And this is a really, really important point. There are no villains here. When your idea gets shot down or a competitor beats you to the punch, it's not because you failed or because someone else is stupid. It's just human nature. It's a predictable pattern. And because it's predictable, that means you can actually learn to work with it. So let's take this idea and apply it to that first scenario. Your great idea gets dismissed. If we look at it through the lens of the GGR law, we can see exactly what's happening. It's not a failure of your idea, it's a failure to bridge what you could call the granularity gap. See, you were operating with that fine-grained, expert-level view. You could see the brilliant little detail that made your idea totally unique. But to your audience, with their coarse-grained view, that subtlety was basically invisible. To them, your idea looked exactly like something they'd seen before because they just didn't have the perceptual zoom lens to see the difference. So what does this mean for you? It means you can't just explain the idea and expect everyone to get it. Your pitch has to be just as innovative as your idea itself. As the expert in the room, it's on you to bridge that gap. You gotta acknowledge where they're coming from, tell really compelling stories, and use simple prototypes to make those invisible subtleties feel real and tangible to them. Now, let's flip the coin. What about that second scenario where your competitor launches a product you know you could have built? Well, the GGR law explains this too. It wasn't about luck or them being smarter. It was a race for who could achieve that refined insight first. Think about it. You both probably had access to the same basic data, the same skills, but your competitor was doing something different in their process. They figured out a way to operate at a more refined level of granularity, and they did it faster. That let them be the first ones to spot the subtle opportunity that was hiding in plain sight, the one that made all the difference between being the innovator and just being an observer. So the lesson here isn't just work harder, it's work smarter by innovating your entire process. Your real challenge is to find creative ways to speed up your team's familiarity with the problem. How can you get deeper experience faster? That's the real quest. You've got to invest as much creativity into how you innovate as you do into what you innovate. And ultimately, all of this leads us to a much deeper way of thinking about innovation itself. It's not just about creating new things or exploring new markets. It's really about fundamentally changing the way you see the world that's already around you. And we have to give credit where it's due. This whole powerful framework comes from Bill Buxton, that principal scientist at Microsoft Research who first wrote about it in an article for Business Week. By giving us this GGR law, he's reframed these common, frustrating career moments not as personal setbacks, but as solvable puzzles of human perception. And that leaves us with this final, really powerful thought from Marcel Proust that just wraps it all up perfectly. The only true voyage of discovery is not to go to new places, but to have other eyes. The real breakthrough isn't about finding some new, undiscovered landscape. It's about developing a new way to see the potential that's already right there in front of you. So the question to leave you with is, how are you going to cultivate your new eye?